In the year 2000 in Pakistan, the military government entered into a new phase of computerized identification and the development of national databases. I'm arguing that the data set that they're relying on to digitize and computerize these processes is built up from analog data collection that stretches back all the way to the 1830s, and we have to consider the colonial implications of how those government procedures originated. I needed to take into account history beyond the creation of Pakistan in 1947 into British India, and before that, the East India Company. My starting point in the archives was around 1780 or 1790, which is when the earliest documents emerged. The East India Company started administering crime and civil and criminal courts. They also started coming up with crime statistics that helped them to govern those territories. The British government of India started conducting censuses in 1871. This statistical know-how informed government procedures and their policies, and they carried on this tradition every decade up till 1941. And in 1951, after India and Pakistan were independent, both countries decided to carry it on seamlessly. They weren't, as post-colonial states, reinventing their processes, but they were taking on the same mechanisms of government and procedures of documenting subjects and tabulating populations. In the modern era, the idea was that these procedures would make the population even more secure. And this is in the context of when the war on terror was shaping up. That issued a new kind of drive. In around 2007, the government got the mobile telephone operators to systematize the biometric collection of data. The cellular device number gets linked to a specific identity number, and that is stored in the national database along with the fingerprints of that person, but also their kind of family data, their kinship data, where they are from. A few years ago, around 2019 or 2020, records of private citizens were found to be available on the dark web, amounting to maybe like hundreds of millions of dollars. That was exposing the population to new kinds of threats and dangers that the state hadn't anticipated. And not only did the government didn't clamp down on these, they tried to cover it up. Data and security have been an object of analysis in the Western world, but in the non-West, particularly areas that were subjected to colonial rule under Western governments, those procedures have evolved in a different kind of way for the purpose of extraction or for controlling populations. How can we get like a comparative perspective that is critical in terms of studying these genealogies and why they are different in the first place? It's not a consistent linear history that I'm tracing out. I'm actually tracing a kind of diagonal line to see how those inheritances from the past are now evolving through changes in technology and through other types of socio-political changes that are taking place.